So that covers the basics of how to decorate light and dark garments with self-weeding laser transfer media and an OKI LED textile transfer printer. I say basics because there are a few important steps to keep in mind as you jump in and start printing and pressing.
Let's run through the list and explain some of these. Rule number 1, use swing-away presses only. Self-weeding laser transfer paper requires even pressure across the sheet. Clamshell presses put more pressure on the back of the table than the front, so they tend to make for uneven transfers with 1- and 2-step laser transfer printers. Swing-away presses close straight down in a vertical motion, so pressure is evenly applied front to back and side to side.
Speaking of heat presses and paper, the polymer coatings used in laser transfer media require fairly specific temperature ranges. Don't assume the temperature display on your heat press is correct. Even respected name brand Made in America heat presses can have temperature displays that are off by 15 to 20 degrees. Check the actual platen temperature against the display and recalibrate the heat press if necessary. That's why all of our laser transfer printer packages include a George Knight IR thermometer kit.
The next tip is also about temperature and paper. 2-step self-weeding paper requires consistent temperature in the paper while you're weeding the A and the B sheets. If the paper starts cooling while you're separating the sheets, you'll get an uneven coating of adhesive on the transfer sheet. To prevent this, close the press for at least 30 seconds at full temperature before you begin the first step. That will heat up the press table so the cold table isn't sucking heat out of the papers while you're peeling them.
The other way to keep temperature drops from spoiling your transfers is to keep the paper flat on the heat press while peeling, as you saw in both videos. If you lift the A and B sheet off the heat press while peeling, cool air will get in there and ruin the party.
Speaking of peeling, when you peel the A and B sheets, there's an element of finesse. You need to vary the effort you use to pull the B paper off. Think of it this way. 2 sheets are essentially glued together by an adhesive on the B paper. So when you begin peeling them apart, it takes a little effort. Use a firm, smooth motion to start, but as you separate the sheets, naturally, the less adhesive left holding them together, right? So you don't need as much force at the end as you do to begin. When you get to the end of the coverage area, just gently peel the last of the B paper off and it will just pop right up. Reducing the force you use during peeling will keep you from tearing off some of the toner of the end of the design as you peel the sheets apart.
Okay, here are a couple of design tips. When you use 1-step self-weeding paper, design your images with high levels of saturation, like the tiger graphic in the video we watched. The self-weeding function isn't magic. It works by the polymer determining the difference between where the toner is and where it's not on the paper. This requires a fair amount of contrast. Really light colors like baby pink may not be dark enough to transfer evenly. If you need to apply something like that to a white shirt, you can actually get a more faithful transfer using 2-step paper. Last tip, this one is about the other end of the process, the design and the software. Despite the fact that we're just applying toner to fabric, some people may think the applied transfer feels too heavy. You can soften the feel of the transfer by using the screening options in TransferRip. TransferRip has a whole host of cool tools for doing this, and honestly, that's a whole separate webinar. But they also have a great video tutorial you can watch online to use this feature if you need to. You'll find the tutorials at www.whitetonertransfer.com. Here's the link. That's a great resource. We'll leave it up for a moment so you can write it down. So that wraps up the how section of today's webinar.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground.
Indeed we have. We've talked about the OKI Textile Transfer Printer line, presented the features and advantages of using OKI printers for garment decoration. We've compared laser transfer to some other garment decoration techniques and shown you the profit potential in laser transfer decoration both for garments and hard surfaces.
And we've shown you how to use self-weeding 1- and 2-step laser transfer paper and offer some time-saving tips including the hardware, the software, and the supplies.